I had a wonderful question come up about how do I use the warm-up space and then proceed into the ring. And this is a topic that I just absolutely love to address, but realize that every handler is different and every dog is different, and we all have different needs. So one piece of coaching might work for you but wouldn't work for another team. Every team is unique. So let's start with your needs. What kind of mindset do you need going into performance and approaching the warm-up ring, approaching the actual ring that you're going to perform in? Well, I actually had a system going that I had to develop for myself, and it was an actual system that I would always keep following it step by step. And this became very important to me preparing my mind to go in and perform. The first thing was, number one, the car had to be packed the night before. Two, my clothes had to be out and ready so that I didn't have these things to think of in the morning. All I had to think of was taking care of my needs. And the third thing was I would take a hot bubble bath and relax the night before. And that's so important to me to bring that adrenaline down to a good place, to where I'm looking forward to it, but not overly edgy. Now, another thing, this is just myself personally, I don't expect anyone else to do this, but I found that if I was going to be a little bit edgy at all, caffeine was out of the picture a week ahead of time. Whether I'm performing physically as a dancer on stage or as a dog handler, I would cut out all caffeine a week ahead of time because my dogs didn't need me to be jittery for any reason. And I found that I could feel my dogs much better if I wasn't on any caffeine. So that's my rule for myself. That's my protocol that I go through before an important performance or event. Another thing that I do for myself is I have certain playlists of music. One that gets me pumped up and ready to rock, and another one that will bring me down quietly with a beats per minute of somewhere around 65 to 70, like a heartbeat that's steady and calm. So depending on what kind of event I'm stepping into, on the drive there, I play the appropriate playlist, or whether I need to get pumped up to dance physically, or whether I need to be that responsive handler for my dog. Which brings up my next one, the dog. Every dog has different needs as well. I had one dog who needed to be powered up and really rearing to go. I had another one I needed to burn that energy off before we would approach the ring. Otherwise she would be too keyed up, too high gear. And then we were prone to errors from nerves, from too much adrenaline. So when you have that warm-up space, you have to think about a couple of things. One, does your dog need to burn off that excess nervous energy? Two, do you need to pump that dog up to bring them up to bring more power? And three, do you need to just stay calm and smooth and quiet throughout that warm-up space and just maintain that? Depending on what kind of sport you're doing, or what kind of routine you're doing, or what your dog really needs. Now the next thing I want to mention is when you get to the edge of the ring. And this is something really important that people don't often think about. Some dogs and handlers may need to stop at the edge of the ring, take a deep breath, assess the situation, and then move in and set up their opening picture or acknowledge the judge. Some need that moment. Other dogs will fall apart at that moment. So maybe what you need to do is work straight through that warm-up area, back yourself up, directly into the ring, set up your opening picture without stopping. Or acknowledge the judges, depending on what venue you're in. That can be really, really important, and my dogs thrive the best with no stopping. We would warm up in the space, I'd back my dog up, we would heel powerful as one strong unit right through that warm-up space and into the ring. And that's the way most of my teams would operate, because any kind of break from that gave the dogs time to start to break down. Okay? If you can lock in and get that powerful healing going, don't stop it. But the most important thing is that throughout that whole period, whether it's the warm-up, the walking through the space into the ring and setting up for your opening picture, or the performance itself, is that you remain 100% locked in and focused as a team player. Okay, we expect our dogs to do that. We don't often do that. So you need to give your dog, your dance partner, 100% of your focus. Nothing else in the world exists but you and your dog at that moment. And that will carry you through so much without your mind breaking. It takes mental toughness. That doesn't mean mentally rough or mean. No, that means you shut everything else out and your one focus is on a good feeling walking into the ring and performing. So I hope that gave you some tips of how I coach my teams and how to handle the warm-up space and walking into the ring. And there's so much more I could say about this from experience, both good and bad, that I would be happy to share with you. If you need to come up with your pre-performance game plan and you want to discuss it with me, well, feel free. I do 15-minute face-to-face video chats for $10.99 when it comes to just strategy like this. And you may have to try out several things. If you go to a class and you're able to perform your routine in front of people, you can practice that. How are you going to handle the warm-up space? How are you going to handle the entrance to the ring? And find out what really works for you. But this is something that I love to coach, and I would be glad to speak with you about it if you're interested. Just email Judy@dogscandance.com because you have a coach that's got your back.